All right, we're back. Another week of Q&A with Jose. We got a lot to talk about, Jose. You're out in Vegas at Flex Lewis's grand opening, the Dragon's Lair. So, man, where do we start? What was that like?
It was outstanding. The gym is beautiful. It's probably, I want to guess around 12,000 square feet. So it's not huge. He doesn't have like locker rooms. He's got 4 bathrooms, but they're all like beautiful tile, a sitting area, everything's done really, really well, high end. Obviously he's got all the Dragon's Lair graffiti on the walls and murals and posters and pictures, and unbelievable. The way he's got it set up is really cool. He's from the foyer, the entranceway, the front desk, there's a little pro shop to the left that sells all the Flextraordinary gear, Flex Lewis stuff and Dragon's Lair stuff. Then there's like an area with there's all tables for people to sit and either eat or hang out. There's probably, I don't know, 30 or 40 lockers that you can either rent or put a lock on while you're training or whatever. But there isn't like a big locker room. There's really no need for it. And the majority of the gym is, open floor space, with all the, I'd say 99% of it is all Arsenal stuff. There were a few hammer strength pieces that I saw, but he had it all custom painted and what's the seat called? The upholstery and all embroidered with the Flex logo and
even
in the back.
I saw the plates had Dragon's Lair on every plate.
Yep. But here's the thing. I did chest on Saturday with my buddy Eli, and those things are hard to pick up because there's no grip and they're like slippery rubber. So to pick one up, there's no real edge to grab to pick it up. So they were kind of a pain in the ass to pick up. But I'm just being a pussy anyway. But in the back, there's an area that's a showroom that was unbelievable, that had almost like one piece of everything that Arsenal makes. And it was all like white, gray, and like his stuff is all red and black. And then in this one room, it was all white and gray and black. And it was so cool. But like nobody's allowed to go in there. It's just a showroom of, I gotta say, like 30 pieces of equipment in there. Or close to it. It was really cool. I showed you a video of it when I was out there. But yeah, it was awesome. The setup of it's great. The location is great. It's got plenty of parking out back, and it was great. Everyone was there. The only 2 people that I can think of that weren't there was Jay, because he had a prior engagement. He was in Ohio doing the Dave Lieberman show, which is a huge show, the Natural Ohio, and Phil, which Phil I'm assuming had prior engagements as well. But everyone else was there. Brandon Curry, Sean Rhoden, Sean Rhoden's girl, Laura Lee. Man, between Sean and Laura, they had the 2 biggest asses I've ever seen in my life. I watched by Laura. She had the same pants on as me. I'm like, yeah, we get the same pants on. She's like, yeah, you fill yours out well. I'm like, yeah. She's like twice the size of me. She's probably your height, Nate. And oh my God, she looks unbelievable, but she's just giant. I want to talk about Mr. Olympia, Brandon Curry. Now, if you don't already love the guy, every time I meet him, there's a different incident that happens that really stands out in my mind. And just to tell you what kind of guy he is, Saturday night, we had Flex had like all these banquet tables set up outside under tents, and he had a giant screen TV set up for the UFC fights. And he had it catered, and there was a bar, wine, everything. And there were a million chairs and tables and whatnot. And then after the fights, everyone kind of, left, scattered. And there was just a handful of us remaining. And we were just talking, hanging out. And then you see, like, they stack up all the chairs that everyone was sitting. And then they all had to be moved inside. And I noticed as I'm talking, I think I was talking to Lunsford or something, and I'm seeing Brandon Curry carrying everything. Like, he made like 5 trips before I realized it's Brandon. What is he doing? Like, he was just helping out, like carrying shit. So I'm like, I'm not gonna just watch him do it. So I started helping. I'm like, this guy, like he's just, nobody asked him to do it, and a lot of people wouldn't, I'm not going to name any names, but wouldn't do that. He just took it upon himself to start lugging stuff and helping out. And man, I got to say, he's probably one of the nicest human beings you ever meet. And it's genuine.
It's like the old saying, treat the janitor like you treat the CEO.
Exactly. And Brandon gets down and dirty and acts like the janitor, it's unbelievable. I love that guy. Like every time I see him, he's just the same guy, and he's just unbelievable.
So one of the things I was gonna ask you, so when we went to Carbon Culture, for me, it was my first time meeting a lot of these guys, right? You had Breon there, you had Steve Lorius, a bunch of all the HD muscle Dorian's guys. Antoine was there.
Yeah.
Juji, and the standout for me was Derek Lunsford, of saying like, holy shit, right? Like, you see Breon in person and in like street clothes, right? Like jeans and a t-shirt, and you go like, oh, he's not that big. Like, obviously you don't see the structure, how small his waist is, right? Like,
right.
Not a very big imposing guy in t-shirt and jeans. Lunsford just blew me away. I was like, holy shit, this guy is massive. So obviously at Dragon's Lair, they're like, basically you said everybody but Jay and Phil was there. So who stood out to you? I mean, you've known these guys. For me, it was my first time at Carbon, but who stood out to you as like, holy shit, like just grab the attention of either big or.
Once again, Derek Lunsford, he was enormous. Like he said he was 255. And I believe every bit of it.
How are you making 212 at that?
I don't know. He's
lean
he's
at 255. Puffy. Yeah.
He's in good shape. Yeah. He's a little puffy, but I believe it. He was enormous. He's probably 3 inches taller than me. I was 220. I'm a lot leaner than him at this point, but I mean, he was 4 times the size of me. I mean, it looked like his shoulders were out to here, and he was just enormous. Also, Rhoden, I can't, there were 3 people, which was Rhoden, Lunsford. Rhoden's ass and legs are just stupid. I can't get over it. Like, he was probably, I want to say, close to 300 pounds. And he's only about 5'10", and he's not fat. He's puffy, and then the biggest, leanest guy was Hassan. Hassan is, I swear, his arms are 25 inches. I've never seen anything like that up close. And his legs have to be 35 inches. Like it just, I'm probably exaggerating, but I'm really not. It's so stupid how big he is. And he's in shape. He's 7 weeks out from a show, and he just looks it looks painful to be that big. Like, he walking, his legs are rubbing together. He looks exhausted, just breathing. He's pushing his little baby carriage around. I don't know if he was pushing it or leaning on it to stay awake. But yeah, those were the 3 biggest by far. Flex looks good, but Flex always looks good. He's just Flex. He's lean. He's never fat. He's not at his heaviest, that's for sure.
Since the surgeries, right? That he probably.
Yeah.
It took a
he
break.
just got the green light to start, and so he's not at his biggest by any means, but he looks fantastic. He's got the crazy forearms and calves. That's all he really needs to be impressive walking around.
Right.
He just looks incredible. Guy looked good. Guys, look like his training is ramping up and it's working for him. I don't know how much he weighs. I didn't bother to ask him because he would have lied to me anyway. But he looked good. But yeah, Derek is silly. He was sitting with me during the fights, and I'm like, "How much do you weigh, dude? That looks painful." Like, what? He's like, "No, I really took it easy. I really, He's like, I'm like 255. I'm like, I remember being 255. I would be in bed right now. I wouldn't be up watching fight.
Now, did he give you any dirt or info of anything he's doing different now that he's working with Hani?
A little bit, but he said they really haven't ramped things up or anything. He wanted him to relax. And what he did say was, in the previous years, he was always concerned with making weight. In his off season, he was always concerned with staying, not allowing himself to grow, not allowing himself to eat too much or to grow too much. And Hani's like, dude, no, you got to grow as much as you can, get as big as humanly possible. We'll worry about 212 when we get close, and that right there is a totally different mindset, because if you're spending the whole year trying to be, hold yourself back, you're not going to get better. You're not going to create hard earned muscle. You're just going to stand still. So I think that right out of the gate is a great mindset that Hani's instilling in him, is to let it go, baby. Take the governor off and go. And if you hit 270, we'll decide where you compete when we get there.
Yeah.
I don't think he's absolutely set on 212. I think he's just wants to make him the best bodybuilder he can be. And it will likely be 212, but I don't think he needs to worry right now. Like, you could tell that if he wanted, within 10 days, he could be 235.
Yeah.
He looked that swollen, like,
yeah.
But he also, he has the luxury of being that big and still having ridiculous structure. So if he hits a front lat spread, it's mind boggling. Like, what
Right.
in the hell is that?
Right.
Where if I were 255, I would hit a fat spread. It would
be a potato.
Yeah, it would look disgusting. And he hits any shot that looks beautiful, even when he's way overweight. Like, it's just, he's a lucky bastard. So yeah, it was so great to see everyone, hang out with everyone, and even meet some new fans. There were a lot of the older crew was there, which was awesome. Milos was there, Flex Wheeler was there, Sean Ray was there, Chris Cormier was there, Dennis Wolf. I had a nice talk with Dennis Wolf. He just had surgery, and he's just such a great guy too. He's so funny. He's very thin, he said, I go, how much do you weigh? Because he's really thin. And I go, you 210? And he's like, no. And I'm like, really? And he's like, I won't get on the scale. I won't, fuck that. He's like, that'll kill me. Because he's probably barely 200 pounds.
Wow. And what was he competing at in his prime?
I want to say 270.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's, man, I can't imagine, because it's like, even when you had your hip replacement and you got small by your standards, you were still a really big guy. Like, you still looked like a bodybuilder. So it's so strange when you see guys like Dennis. Obviously, you'd see like Kevin Levrone when he's just not lifting, walking around. He doesn't seem to give a shit. But man, I don't know what that would be like when you're the mass monster that was Dennis Wolf.
Yeah.
Now he's a tall guy too, right? Is he like 6 feet tall?
Well, close to it. Yeah. 5'11" change.
To be maybe 200 pounds, good for him. I would, I don't know, I could mentally handle that.
He's so mentally strong. He's a riot. He's got a great humor. You know, I might reach out to him. It'd be great to get an interview with him, and because he's talkative. He's fun to talk to. He's got a lot of stories. He's had a litany of injuries. It's not just his latest one was a rotator cuff or a bicep. They cut the bicep off. Remember a few years ago, guy had both shoulders done.
Yeah.
They were both bicep tendons. That's what Dennis just had, because he was in so much pain from that bicep tendon. They just cut it and reattached it under his pec or something, they said. And so that's just one of many surgeries. He had the neck surgery. So he's been doing nothing but recovering the last many years.
Wow.
So there is no point in him trying to put weight on. It's just going to put stress on his body that's unnecessary.
Right.
But what a great guy. He was a lot of fun. I met Chris Psycho Lewis for the first time, and he was such a nice guy too. And you know, he loves my brother. He had a lot of great things to say. He is gigantic, which I had no idea. I thought he was like a short, pudgy black guy. You know, he's got to be 6'2", like huge guy.
Yeah.
And it was just surprising to me. And when he came up and started talking to me, I'm like, oh my God. I was surprised he was so tall. He was with a young guy, Gordon. He's an up and coming. He's a young pro. He just turned pro. He's getting ready for Chicago or something. This guy is crazy looking. So it was cool. See some of the young guys. Wilkins.
Brett.
Yeah, Brett.
Yeah.
He is so stupid big. He's around 275. He's your height. Yeah, he's like 5'8", 275, and in good shape. And his shape is still good. You know, he didn't destroy his physique by getting that big. You know, Dusty was there.
Yep.
Dusty came out with Todd. They were filming. We had so much fun just busting each other's balls, and a lot of the girls were there. A lot of the girls I didn't even get to see for some reason or not. It was so packed that, you know, you would congregate in one area, and then there would be a whole nother crew of people in a whole nother area. So I know, like, I did see Breon and Danny Phelps. I sat with them for a while and talked, and Brad Rowe was there. I hung out with Brad, and Derek Farnsworth. He actually worked on me for an hour.
Nice.
Helped open up my shoulder. And there's this kid, Dom, who does the electrical stimulation. And he does deep tissue as well. So Derek did an hour of stretching and deep tissue on me. And the kid, Dom, did the electrical stimulation on me afterwards.
Did you try that stuff for a workout at all, or no? I saw Dusty film.
No.
Okay.
I didn't do it while I was training. Because they only had one thing, and actually me and Dusty were training at the same time. So I'm not opposed to trying it, sure. I don't like the idea that you can't lift as much weight.
Right.
It's probably better for me.
Right. Actually would be, right.
Yeah. But they were talking about it, and you know, I'm gonna plan a trip at some point and go out and see Derek and have him work on me, you know, a couple times over the course of 4 or 5 days. And because he's unbelievable, dude. I can't express how good he is, because he's a small guy. He can like crawl up into your armpit and use his elbow and his knees and his toes and everything, and just get in so crazy deep that it works. And he knows so much about what is what. He can tell by looking at you how you move in what it is. And then sure enough, he came up to me right when I walked in, gave him a hug, and he's like, oh man. And he grabs my collarbone like this, stuck his fingers underneath my collarbone. And right away, because I've been having numbness running down my bicep into my fingers, and right away it shut it off.
Whoa.
I'd been texting him. I told him, and he goes, watch this. And he goes, and like held onto it, and it shut it off. It felt better almost immediately. And he was, it's called like the scalene muscles or something up in this area. Whatever he did, he calmed everything down. I got up and he took some pictures. I was able to actually hit a front double. And I can't imagine after, multiple therapies with him, how much better it could be.
Right.
So, yeah.
Man, you almost wish, we talked about this with Karen, who we know, who works out of Vegas. Derek seems to be the go-to guy, like with everyone in the know. You almost wish Derek had a little school where he could teach people, because, we talk about this all the time in Boston. There's nobody. Who do we go to? Like, if there was a Derek around here, I'd be going twice a month, every month.
Yeah.
We know the benefit of it, but if you just go to a regular massage therapist or ART or whatever the modality is, right?
Yeah.
They don't have any experience with bodybuilders. Like what you're saying is Derek lives the lifestyle. He's 50 and looks as good as guys that are 30. And he knows unreal what the aches and pains are and the tightness. And he's also been doing this for so long on so many bodybuilders.
Yeah.
That's the hard part, is that you just wish there were more of him, or there's someone on the East Coast doing that.
Yeah. It's hard though. It's kind of like saying, hey, it's too bad Joe Bonamassa can't teach this guy exactly how to be Joe Bonamassa.
Right.
There's no such thing. It's like Derek has an innate understanding because of his years of experience. He can teach you the basics of where things are, where tendencies tend to be, and how to approach it. But his method and the way he does it, it's almost impossible to relate it to someone. And he said, if you find someone, you have someone good, I'll have them call me and I'll walk them through what you're going to need, because the average person can't do it. And they have to be extraordinarily strong too, because he's manipulating my body that I know the average massage therapist can't do.
Right.
He was stretching and holding me and then running his forearm elbow up into the back of my neck like this, like rubbing out my trap. And he didn't do it just once. It was like 11 times in a row, like to the point where my scalp, I was afraid the skin was going to rip off. But it felt a million times better. Even today, I feel better just from that one time him working with me. So yeah, I'm going to schedule a trip out to see him. I'll go stay with him and we'll get some shit done. I met his girl. She's a freak power lifter, bodybuilder. She's a women's physique pro. Looks unbelievable. She has a lot of the same issues that I have. So he's working with people nonstop. When I called him that morning, he's like, yeah, come on. I'll be ready when you get here. He's like, I've only worked on 4 people already. I'm like, all right, well, you better save some energy for me. He's like, yeah, I got you. Don't worry. So it was awesome. So yeah. I mean, it was so cool. The way it was so professionally done. You get there, everyone had to sign a waiver. All the athletes, all the pros got like this VIP badge. And it didn't matter who you were. You had to sign a release to get in the building, just for protective reasons. So it ended up being around 1,000 people that came through the doors. Wow. And at one point, the cops came and made everyone go outside. So luckily, there was big bay garage doors out back, and everyone could go out into the parking lot and hang out. And then they slowly let people drift back in, and people who were training, and let people finish their workout and, slowly disperse. But from 1 to 4, there was over 1,000 people came through the doors.
Wow.
Yeah, it was nuts. And his brother was there with his girl. I love Lukey Lou. He's a great kid. He's a Firebush redhead. Yeah. Crazy. Just like Flex. Just great people. Sean Clarita was there.
Yep.
We had a little height competition.
Is he actually over 5 feet? What does he say? He's 5'2", 5'3", something like that?
No way. But people I'm skying over him and people are asking, who's taller? I'm like, are you shitting me? That's like me standing next to you and saying, who's taller?
Yeah.
I have to be 3 to 4 inches taller than him. Gotta be.
Yeah.
And
you're going to have to pull a stunt say like go to the Olympia and or maybe not the Olympia because he's competing, but the next thing that he's at, if there's an expo, and sneak up behind him with a measuring tape and just end this once and for all, right? Where he doesn't even notice, have him be doing an interview with somebody, and you just bring the measuring tape up and run off, and you got proof.
He'll love it. Sean's got a great sense of humor. He don't care. Especially now, he's like, I'm Mr. Olympia. I don't care if I'm 3'9". I still whoop everyone's ass.
Right.
You know, he's great. I was hanging with him and his wife, and just great people. It was such great energy the whole time. Really, not one dickhead there at all, except for me. That was really the weird thing. It's like not one person could, you know, he don't associate with idiots. So there wasn't any idiots there. You know, it was just great energy all around. Got a great workout in. He had tons of food. You know, he did it right. You know, catered for all of us. The owners of what the hell's the weight company?
Arsenal.
The owners of Arsenal. I'm sorry, they were there. Matt Jansen was there. He looked like he was 13 years old because he's been recovering from that pec tear, and he just shrunk down to a teenage boy. He looks like, you know, he's a great guy too. We had a long talk about his recovery and how he's doing, how he's going to come back. He's got 2 kids now. He's doing great.
People must have been surprised. I saw footage of you just with probably post-workout with like a sleeveless shirt on. Were people shocked seeing the shape that you were in, who maybe haven't been following your Instagram or this YouTube channel?
Yeah, pretty much everyone was like, what the fuck are you doing? I thought you were retired. Are you coming back? I'm like, I don't know. You know, if I can, I will. I don't know. And you know, I'm clearly lean, very lean. But you know what? I'm finally realizing that that's my genetics. Like my brother was always shredded year round. I'm like, how the hell you stay shredded? He's like, I don't drink fucking 8 beers every night. Right. You know? Right. But now I haven't drank, and I'm lean as hell, and I still have some cookies and ice cream, and that's the key. I've been doing a little bit of cardio a couple times a week. I train like an animal, and 99% of my food is really clean, like diet food. So that's how you have it. I'm probably, I would guess 8% body fat. I'm under 10, I would definitely, because I have obliques and veins going through my abs and veins everywhere. My legs are really lean. My quads are striated. And that's not even on like a real contest prep, you know?
Right.
So I'm very confident that I could put my foot on the gas and make some real improvements. Last night I was squatting with that safety bar, and the most I've squatted in, I want to say 4 to 5 years. I went up to 405, and it was easy.
That's a heavier. I mean, anytime I've used a safety bar, I have to use less weight than a normal squat.
Yeah, I think the bar is like 70 pounds or something.
Yeah.
And but I went up to 404 plates, so it was probably, I don't know, 425, 430 or something. And I did 8 reps, like easy. It was only on my 4th rep, the thing rolled, and I almost dumped. It was very scary. But it gave me a lot of confidence, man, that I was my workouts are going great, and I'm strong.
And that was pain-free as well?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. No pain at all. Not during it. It's not during. The next day I feel it.
Yeah.
Not in my hip. I feel my knee is a little sore, a little crunchy, but I don't think that's going away anytime soon. That's just old man. What was that called? Fucking when the joint arthritis. I don't think I'll probably need a knee replacement someday. So here's an interesting thing. Ready? I'm going to go into this. I got a message. A guy responded to my story. His name is Vlad on Instagram. Vlad, VLADHERZ1. Vladherz1. He says, bravo, Jose. Your replaced hip appreciates your every set. People who can't walk admire your desire to join them.
Oh no.
Yeah. Of course, I said, get a life, douchebag. You're a coward hiding on IG. Get lost. But yeah, my knee does hurt. But this is the kind of shit I get. You know what I mean?
Man, that's when you have to take a break from Instagram for a little bit. When you start getting those kind of messages, people have way too much time on their hands to DM a random person they don't know that stuff.
Yeah. And I got some messages about he wanted to see if they could convince me to let them sit on me and crush me under their ass at full weight.
These things get weirder and weirder.
Yeah. He says, I'm wicked comfortable, boss. How long do you think you could last under there?
We could probably do a whole show of, we'll entitle it What's in Jose's DMs. And we'll just go through all of this weird gay for pay fetish stuff that you get all the time.
Oh, bro. It's most of the time I don't even acknowledge it. But I wanted to see how much money I could make.
Right.
But you grow up and
that's always the fun, right? And like, you're not going to do it, but you still want to like push and say, well, how much is this person willing to pay?
Yeah. Last week I had one like, are you straight? I'm like, come on, dude, look through my pictures. What about this tells you that I'm gay? Like, I don't care if you are, but I'm not. And he's like, well, even for a certain amount of money, he's like, how about 10 grand? I'm like, 10 grand? I'm like, no. Maybe $1 million. Not even $1 million. $1 million's not even, it'd have to be like 100 million. Because you're going to live with your nightmares.
Yeah. $1 million will go quick. Yeah. $1 million will just cover the therapy.
Exactly. So,
it amazes me because I haven't been in this long, but especially after doing USA's last year, and like the typical Instagram sites of bodybuilders without borders or Sulios, or like the guys that share all the pics, right? So they'll share my pics like leading up to the show or saying how I placed like when I won heavies. And then I started getting those messages, can I buy your posing trunks? How much? Yeah, I had one guy offering me $800 for posing trunks. What do these things cost? Like $60, something like that?
Yeah.
And $800. And I was just kind of joking. I'm sitting there with my girlfriend being like, all right, I'm going to respond back to this guy and play along, right? And so I don't know if he said how much, and I just threw out $800 because I'm like, it's ridiculous. And the guy's like, how many pairs will you sell me at $800 a pair, right?
Tell him like, you're gonna eat a pound of orange roughy, do an hour on the step mill.
Well, that's my point is so as I'm just playing along, like, I'm not going to do this, but I was like, I'll sell you 3 pairs, right? Like, that's an easy $2,400. And the guy's like, all right, but you have to wear them for 2 days first. And like the list of demands starts going, and it just weirds you out. It's not enough to ship them posing trunks that are in a drawer that have been washed. You got to,
no. You gotta,
it gets real weird after that.
Anchovies and
asparagus.
Yeah, some brie cheese. Wow.
These messages are so strange, man. I had a guy at the same time, like within 2 days, I got 3 or 4 messages. This was like around the USA's. That was like, I sponsor bodybuilders. This is what I do. Like, I set aside, it was like some amount, $7,000 or $8,000 a month. And I have bodybuilders on payroll and I support them to be able to compete. Yeah. And I was like, okay, so what is it that you want? And he's like, I just want to be part of your prep. When you send your coach pics,
is it Ricardo? Ricardo from Spain.
No. See, but there's a whole thing, right? It's like, and here's the thing is like, I can see, like, I have a career, I make money. If you're some guy living at home, just struggling to get your jug of protein and gas to drive to the gym, You know, like the guy was offering me $1,100 a month to like send him check-in pics. I didn't do it, right? Because the thing is like I'm thinking that shit's out there forever. This guy's
Send
probably
me his
yeah.
IG.
I'll forward it to you next time.
Yeah.
Like, but this stuff's going to end up on some website. You know, there's some collection of guys that trade these pics to each other, and like God knows where it ends up. And you gotta worry about that shit, you know, popping up 20 years down the line, maybe when you're running a company or, you know, more of a public face that, you know.
What is it? It's just a bodybuilding photo. You're gonna send them dick pics.
Right.
Yeah.
It's too weird.
If you can't, honest to God, if you can't afford your protein and whatever it takes for you to prep, you shouldn't be bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Period.
Exactly. Yep.
And that goes for the bikini girls. You know, I know so many bikini girls. They set up these funds. GoFundMe. I want to do Miami Nationals. I want to
at least do an OnlyFans. Like, give us something for it.
Right. No, they probably have that too. You
Right.
know, it's just ridiculous. You don't belong competing if you need to beg money to do it.
Man, that's the thing that the go certainly there's very there's things that are worth donating, setting up GoFundMe's where someone loses somebody close to them and it's for funerals or medical bills or right, like real tragedies that a family's going through where they need help. And you see some really amazing things happen with everybody putting in $10 and there's a huge pile of money. But when you see it a lot, you know, with me being a musician, you see it a lot in the music world where someone's like, I want to record an album and I need $20,000, $50,000, donate to my GoFundMe. It's like, save that shit up, save your money. Like, you know, it's so crazy that it becomes this, I want this, therefore I'm going to do a GoFundMe, right? You see it in bodybuilding, for preps, for musicians all the time. They're constantly, I want this new guitar. I'm setting up a GoFundMe so I can have this, right? We're going to record an album or yeah.
It's crazy. I would give him $5,000 for 25% of anything he makes. How's that? It's like the Shark Tank.
Right. Like a real investment. Yeah.
I'll give you something for a stake in your business. How's
right.
that?
Maybe that needs to be the next thing. Some sort of you know, it's funny. I trained a client tonight and he joined some group. It was like an app, like a thing he's swiping through, and it's all for what they call angel investors. Like just donate money, get this percentage, but you have no say in the business, right? Like you put in the money, you own a percentage. If things go well, you make money. Yeah. And so you could go on there and just pitch. So he put on a company like, here's this company I have, we're looking to raise $500,000. And there was a formula, like you put in this much money, you own this percentage, right? So like, so let's say $500,000 was going to be 40% ownership in the company, you know, and you put in 100 grand, you get this much. So really cool idea, because you put in the bio, here's what the company's about, here's our strategy, and you just had investors scrolling through, finding things that were interesting. He showed me one that was it takes your ashes when you're cremated and mixes it in with like tree seeds, and you plant it right, like with the ashes and the tree seeds, and a tree blossoms. And that was this company's business idea. Yeah. Was like when you die, you get cremated and they take with tree seeds and plant a tree somewhere based off of your ashes. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Then your great grandchildren will be able to celebrate you.
Right.
When that tree finally grows.
Right. Exactly. So anyway, back to Flex's thing. And anything else that jumped out? Any stories? Any really cool pieces of equipment you got to try that you hadn't used before?
Everything was really cool. They had a lying hamstring curl that was really cool. It was big and bulky, and I'm like, this thing's gigantic. But when I laid down to use it, the thing was perfectly set up. It was awesome. They have the belt squat that you and I have used. They had the hip thrust, the hip glute drive, or whatever you want to call it. The shoulder press that you really liked down at Carbon that we did.
Yep.
Was that does General Fitness have that one too?
No, but Impact has something similar, but from Legend,
Okay.
different
Oh,
company.
that's right. That's
Legend,
right.
yeah. Not
Yeah.
Arsenal, but Legend.
Yeah, they had everything. It was really cool. They had this machine. I didn't use it, but it looked really cool. It was a preacher curl bench, and it was connected, but the bar was like wiggled. The bar was free, but it was connected to the machine. You couldn't like take it off.
Yeah.
So it was really cool. What else? I mean, yeah, I used an incline press, which was really cool. One that's laying back, plate loaded.
Well, here's something I wanted to ask you. I was thinking about this the other day. So uh, we don't really know, but just to get your take, your gut feeling. So let's say I join Flex's gym and I'm going to go and lift there on all of the state of the art Arsenal stuff, Prime, whatever it is they have. But I'm not going to touch a barbell. I'm not going to touch a dumbbell, right? So no free weight squats, no barbell bench press, no dumbbell bench press. I'm just going to use the machines, those plate loaded machines for every body part, right? Can I be as good of a bodybuilder doing that stuff with these state of the art machines, or do I need the barbells and the dumbbells?
I think if you're have Flex Wheeler's genetics, then yeah. But I think like anything, you got to learn how to walk before you can run. And I still stand by the fact that, learning how to develop your body through balancing and counterbalancing from free weights is the way to go, is the way to build true strength. And with true strength comes true mass. I don't think there's a top end bodybuilder in the world that only trains with machines or that built that physique on only machines.
Right.
So the answer is no. I don't believe so. I think you have to learn to do free weight compound movements. You don't have to do every one of them, because obviously, like for you, squatting or deadlifting is not, doesn't agree with your body. But some bent rows, an incline barbell press, one arm dumbbell rows, those are all staples in things that we do. A shoulder press, a flat bench, it's all how you do it and be smart about it. We, knock on wood, we've never tread into those dangerous waters of let's try for 1 rep. That's how you hurt yourself. Yeah. We're like, let's try for 12. And once in a while we'll get stuck at 8 or 9 or something. But,
right.
Our goal is always reps. So it would be a freak accident if we would injure ourselves doing what we do, the way we train.
Especially with so much warm up, right? The pre-exhaustion stuff and so
right.
many warm-up sets. Yeah.
Yeah. If something were to happen, it would be a freak accident. But yeah, that's about all. I'm sure there's other things, other moments. There was some funny. I don't think we stopped laughing the entire time. I got to see Justin Dees, my boy. I love Justin. He's a general manager of the club there.
Oh no shit. Okay.
Yeah. He moved from Salt Lake City to Vegas to be the general manager, and he's awesome. Just such a great dude, such great energy there. Brings a lot of positivity to the place, and that's Flex, man. Flex brings that energy and only surrounds himself. The guy Ray Johans, who is a cop that worked out at Montanari's, and he's from Connecticut, and he retired and moved to Vegas and got a job there.
Okay.
So, yeah, he drove me to the airport. Such a great guy. He's one of their main people that's there all day, and so excited to be part of it. It was awesome. I don't know about who else did I see. Man, I saw everyone there was to see. Neil Hill was there.
Yep.
Chris Gettin was there with his girl. Saw Per Bernal, who I hadn't seen in years. And there were more people that I just didn't get a chance to, talk to. I saw him from across the gym, by the time I got over there, they were gone. There were a lot of fans too, a lot of fans that I must have took 100 pictures and did interviews. Dave Brule was there for JTV, even though Jay wasn't, but he got a ton of footage. So it was really cool. Really cool.
So one last thing I'll ask you about before we go, just because it's topical news. The photo that came out of Dan Solomon and Kai Greene, and there's Aaron Singerman, I think, has posted a couple more teasers. What's Kai doing here? What are they talking about? Obviously alluding to Kai may do the Olympia. I don't think it went over so well. I think most of it, at least the online stuff that I've seen guys making videos, everyone's kind of just been like, enough with teasing it. Like, if you're going to do the Olympia, just announce you're doing the damn Olympia. None of this, coy, ambiguous, maybe I'm going to do it, so what was your reaction when you saw that? What's your take on this? Is it going to be different this time with Aaron Singerman involved, because there's a chance for Aaron to really make a lot of money in this, and can he be the puppet master and make this thing play out the way that he wants it?
I don't know, but I think at heart, Kai is a bodybuilder. Kai always looks awesome. Kai's always in shape. Kai is gigantic. Aaron threw a big amount of money at Kai. I think there might have been some stipulation in this contract that says, come on, dude, I'm giving you a lot of money. You got to do one show. You got to do one. Not 4, not 5, not 3, but you got to do one. And what better to do than the Olympia? I don't think he's just going to jump in and do Indy. I think in Dan Solomon meeting with him, there was probably an agreement. Like, listen, dude, I've extended it to you numerous times. If you want to do it, let me know. Let us promote this thing and let's do it. And I think he's probably sitting on it right now. And he's probably, I'm sure Aaron wants him to do it. I'm sure Aaron thinks he can win. I think he can win. Why couldn't he? Kai is one of the freakiest guys on earth. Even at 50 years old, whatever he is, 46. No, there's no birth record of Kai. Nobody knows how old he is. He's a vampire. He's I think the fans are sick of it. I mean, I'm not one way or another. I would love to see him compete, but I'm not excited at all until it's actually real. Yeah. Until I actually see him on stage. Even if he says he's competing, I won't believe it till I see him on stage.
Right. There's just been too much. I mean, the only thing different this year, it's like, we were talking about Rami leading into the Olympia. You sort of were writing him off. All of us, the consensus was writing him off because of, we were just tired of saying, is this going to be the year? And being like that, right? And I was saying when we did our show, the one variable now is Chad Nichols, right? Like there's a new variable here that was not present all these other years. So we could get a different outcome. I think the same is true with Aaron Singerman here, right? If it was just Kai meeting with Dan, he didn't sign to Redcon, I would say there's not a chance, like enough of this. But man, is this huge for Redcon, right? If Kai comes back, does the Olympia, they put Kai at the Redcon booth for a couple hours, each day. The training footage that they could get of Kai training leading up to the, it would be crazy. Yeah. And it means more money for Redcon. It means more money for Aaron. So listening to Kai in the past, it seemed like there were two reasons why he wasn't competing. One was he didn't think he was getting a fair shake against Phil, right? It's like Phil was going to win regardless, even if he's off, and they weren't going to let Kai win. Whether or not it's just preference of Phil or whether it's Kai's past and the grapefruit video and that whole thing. Right? The other side was Kai saying, I know my worth now. If I come back and compete, I'm selling you guys a lot of tickets. And in this era now, a lot of pay-per-views, because people are going to tune in just to see me compete. And therefore, I want to be compensated. Like you're going to make more money just the fact that I'm showing up and getting on stage. I want a guarantee just to show up, separate from the placing money, was basically what was being said, right? And which you can understand, but then that sets a really dangerous precedent, because if you're a Phil Heath, if you're, whoever, you can sit out and say, I want 100 grand just to show up on top of the prize money.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm going to put asses in the seats and I'm going to sell tens of thousands of pay-per-views for my fan base. So it's like, do they give into that? But, I'm curious of the discussions, because those seem to be Kai's two sticking points. Obviously, there's probably no Phil. We don't know if Phil will come back, but at least
why don't they give out a coupon code, and everyone that buys tickets under Kai Greene's code, then we'll know.
Yeah, I completely agree. I said that before up to the Olympia, right? I think it incentivizes the athletes to promote, which is a good thing for the Olympia.
Yeah.
You have each of these athletes has hundreds of thousands, if not millions of followers, and you're mobilizing them to go to work and sell pay-per-views for you, Yeah. Even if you give them like as much as $5 a sale, that's huge for these guys, man. Some of these guys know that can add up to a lot.
Yeah.
Just charge $10 more for the pay-per-view, give each bodybuilder $5 and let them go to work and promote it.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if something like that starts to happen soon.
Yeah.
That would solve the I'm sitting out thing. So, show me your worth. If all your fans show, and it shows that out of an available 15,000 seats, you sell 8,000 of them, then damn right, you're getting a chunk of cash.
Right.
And that's only fair. But bodybuilding promotion has not always been fair.
Yeah. So if you had to roll the dice on you're a betting man, and you got to say one way or another, given Singerman's involvement, given the photo, do you think we see Kai on this year's Olympia or no?
I think more than last year or the year before, more than since 5 years, this is probably he's running out of time. One, I mean, another year or two, he's not going to be competitive. He's not going to, he could be competitive, but he's not going to be a threat to win at 50 years old. He won't be any more than Dexter was at 50. But I think that the time is running out. I think he knows that this can't last forever. And I do think that Aaron had this in mind from the get-go. I think there was probably a little stipulation that says, I need you to compete one more time.
Yeah.
And so I think my gut tells me that there's something up their sleeve, that there's a possibility that he could. And if that's true, we're going to know about it pretty soon. I would say by June, mid-June, we'll know.
I'm going to say yes, in that I think Aaron's pretty street smart, right? And Aaron has enough common sense to, he knows that the general bodybuilding fan base is sick of Kai dangling, stranger things have happened, maybe I'll come back and compete. Like, we're all sick of it at this point. It's been the last 4 years of just trying to get the air out of the room and say, give me all of the attention, right? And so I feel like Aaron has enough common sense to know that to as much as he wants to get people talking about Kai, like certainly we're talking about Kai, everybody's talking about Kai once that pic of Dan Solomon came out, right? Which will eventually lead people to Redcon YouTube or the website or something. But I feel like Aaron has enough common sense to know that people are sick of it. And if this is just a stunt and there's no intention of competing, I feel like it's going to bite him in the ass. Yeah.
That's why I think all the stars are aligning that says it's now or never.
Yeah.
This year, and we'll know, because the last few images I've seen of Kai, he looked a little on the leaner side, a little smaller side, and we'll know in the next 8 weeks, if you start seeing a closer to 300-pound Kai, something might start happening. You know what I mean? He might be starting to gear up for something. Because he didn't look gigantic. He looked lean in the last few images I've seen of him. But he didn't look his typical off-season trying to grow big guy thing, you know?
Right. Yep.
So I think if we start seeing him growing again, by mid-June, we'll know that he's going to do the show.
And I guess
time to promote.
You were out in Vegas with Rhoden there. Is the word from Rhoden like they're just not letting him compete at this point? Like he's just waiting for the go ahead, waiting for the Olympia or the IFBB to say we'll let you compete again?
Yeah, I don't think anyone's told him anything, to be honest. I don't think they want to give him false hope, or I don't think the powers that be have the stones to pull the trigger on that and say, you know what, enough's enough. That's what I would do. Enough's enough. This man has lost 3 years of his income, which amounts to millions of dollars at this point.
Yeah.
If he won, which I'm very confident he would have won at least another one, plus endorsements, plus appearance fees, plus contracts, and you're talking a lot of money for Mr. Olympia 3 years in a row. Someone has to step up to the plate and say enough's enough. If he's found guilty, fine. Then he'll go to jail. And we didn't know. We're just going by, but I thought this was America. You're innocent till proven guilty, and nobody's given this guy a chance. And it's getting quite disgusting, to be honest with you. I feel so bad. We didn't discuss it. I never see the guy. I was first saying, hey, what's going on with your case?
Right.
I can tell, Sean, he's trying his best to be happy and smiling and positive, and he's training. He's sure training, He's a big boy. So I think he's ready to pull the trigger whenever they say go. And I think he's going to probably prep as if he's doing it,
You hope like the Olympias of past years, there'd be no way, right? Because it was a very corporate business owned by a magazine company.
Yeah.
But you feel like there could be a chance with Jake Wood. I feel like this was talked about. I don't know if it was talked about Palumbo or Fuad, one of these podcasts, of at some point the athletes like a Flex, like a Jay, have to kind of stand up and come together and say enough is enough. Let Rhoden compete. There's got to be some sort of court of public opinion. We demand this, and I feel like at that point Jake Wood would allow it. But everybody's like, we all kind of were shocked, saying, wow, when the news broke of him being charged, and it kind of made sense that he had to sit out that next Olympia because it was this big news story.
Yeah. And
then there's just nothing with the trial, whether it's due to COVID or whatever the reasons. But at this point, it's silly, I guess the fear if you're Jake Wood is if the guy wins, right? That's the danger. If he plays a second place, third place, I don't think it has the same sting as the reigning Mr. Olympia was found guilty. Should he be found guilty? That's the fear.
No, it don't matter if he wins or not. This is supposed to be the land of opportunity.
Oh, I completely agree.
And
right,
he ain't getting an opportunity. Let him win. I don't care.
Yeah.
If he's found guilty, he's going to go to jail.
Yeah.
If it's simple as that. But you cannot treat him as if he is guilty already, and they've taken his income, his ability to make a living in his profession for 3 years. It is crazy that he can't. And I just hope someone says, what, enough's enough. We're going to do it. We're going to let him compete. Let him prove. Come on.
I just think there has to be some sort of public uproar or athlete, something. Because it weirdly, like, a few people started talking about it. We're starting to talk about it. Like, what's going on? This has been so long, right? But there isn't this whole uproar of let them compete. Whether it's what's the thing? it was done with the Sean, stop Sean Ray from commentating, right? Those things where you get the numbers and the votes and, thousands of people want this. Like maybe there needs to be that, right? Maybe there needs to be change.org, right? One of those things, right? A petition, online petition of let Rhoden compete. And maybe you get 10,000, 15,000 people
easily,
right? And I don't know, maybe that certainly when the Sean Ray petition thing,
you won't get as many as you got to get rid of Sean, but you'll get a lot.
Well, here's my point though. So when the Sean Ray thing went up, right? There was a few thousand people, I think, that digitally signed it. Like a week or two later, there was that awkward sit down of Jake Wood and Sean addressing this stuff.
Hey,
right. And so there was action from that. Like they had that embarrassing Jake Wood putting him in his place. Like, Sean, you work for the promoter. You should be promoting the athletes, promoting the sport, not belittling. And I mean, it was, someone who's not a huge fan of Sean Ray, it was awesome to see him there squirming, like being sent to the principal's office. So maybe that's something, just brains, because I feel so bad for the guy, as a fan of the sport, as a fan of Rhoden. And like you said, it's innocent until proven guilty. And the guy's lost his livelihood and everything that goes with it, right? Outside of just competing, sponsors aren't really touching the guy. For somebody of his caliber physique, he should have top sponsors. And we've all been playing the waiting game, but without knowing when this trial is, I think you need something like that change.org petition to get signatures, to get athletes, and I'm sure it's tough for a Jay or whoever. They don't want to, piss off the powers that be, they'd rather these guys stay quiet. But, what does Jay have to lose?
Numerous times. He said he should be competing. He should be allowed to compete. Jay can only do so much. The problem that you're going to run into is, is Rami going to vote for Sean Rhoden to come back?
Right.
Is, Brandon Curry probably would, just because
he's a good guy. Yeah.
Would Phil vote for him? Would all these top guys that are going to lose a big chunk of money if Sean competes, are they going to vote him in? Probably, because Sean is very well liked, and just out of principle, if it were you, if it were me, if it were someone, you would hope that, your colleagues would want to stand up for what's right.
Right.
Clearly, they don't have this evidence, this slam dunk thing to charge him,
Yeah.
Or it would have been done. Wouldn't you think it would have been done?
Something. I'm just amazed.
Dragging this out.
Yeah. I'm just amazed nothing's leaked either. Like, in this day and age, somebody, people know something and they tell somebody, they tell a friend, they tell a significant other, it ends up on a message board through some fake name, like stuff leaks out all the time. Right. I'm just amazed we haven't, like, stuff leaked out right when this case came out because everybody wanted to know. They dug up the woman that made the claim. They found dirt in her past. Right. Like, and then nothing about the evidence, anything.
What's worse, Chris brought up a good point last week, is where are the other women? There's a quarterback from Texas, the Deshaun Watson. He's got like 16 accusers now.
Yeah.
16. Sean has one. Wouldn't you think someone would have come out? Where are all these other ladies?
With Cuomo in New York, right?
Yes.
Like it just happens. When Trump, as soon as you had the first allegation, there were 34 more after it,
Yeah.
Like, whether or not there's people jumping on the bandwagon, there's certainly some that were too scared to come forward that are then empowered by the people that did come forward, right? So when that many people come forward, it might be that not all of them are valid, but I doubt all of them are making it up. There's probably some fire with all that smoke. So yeah, like with Rhoden,
the point is that's a pattern of behavior.
Yep.
You don't just become at 46-year-old become a rapist. He would have done it in his 20s. He would have done it in his teens. He would have done it many times over. It smells horrific. It is terrible. And he's getting railroaded worse than anything I've quite frankly ever seen. So We can talk all we want about it.
Yeah, I who knows? Maybe that change.org petition, at least you got to at least get Jake Wood on notice, because I feel like he can do something about it, right? Like
Yeah.
he can. Maybe the IFBB doesn't want him in other shows. Not that he would really need to anyway, but I feel like with the financial backing that Jake Wood brings to the IFBB in general, if Jake Wood wants him in the Olympia, I think he's in the Olympia, and I think if Jake Wood thinks he can make more money and that's what the fans want, I think Jake Wood lets him in.
Yeah,
so maybe the petition is something that starts it going.
It's got to be more than about money, because Jake doesn't really need money. He wants to do what's right, and I think that's the move that's right. It can't be about money, because then it becomes you're selling your soul. Because what if he were guilty? Well, you got to do it just because it's the right thing to do, because he's not been charged. There's no evidence that leans towards him. There's no previous behavior that leans towards thinking that that's him. So it should just give the guy a chance to make a living for his children, for his family, and put this shit behind him. And if God forbid they're able to charge him with it, then you deal with the fallout of that.
Right.
And you say, we were only doing what we thought was right. The guy sat out 3 years. Enough was enough. They weren't moving on it. There was no evidence that showed to me. And 99% of the people who have interacted with Sean within this industry have nothing but pleasant to say about him. So, on that note, let him compete.
Yep.
That's it.
All right. Sounds good, Jose. All right. That'll do it for this week. I guess if you made it this far, you have any questions for future weeks, leave them in the comments section, and we'll try to do our best to get to them.
Okay. And no dick pics.
Yeah. Or don't send them to me. Jose might entertain the idea. I won't. I definitely won't. Jose might. So you can try, Jose. As
long as there's a lot of zeros at the end.
All right. I'll see you next week, Jose.
All right, buddy. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.